Ben S. We have another question from a viewer in the UK.
Sure.
Ben, I hope you're still up watching. But Ben says, I currently have a Mont Blanc Heritage Chronometry twin counter on a leather strap, bought new. I love the aesthetic, and I've got to say it keeps excellent time. He's a family man. He is a doctor, so he says his budget is reasonable, all things considered. He's looking to purchase another watch in the not-too-distant future and would love a Moonphase. And he says it's his favorite complication. He's into movements, so he doesn't want something like generic, like an ETA geared to a DD module. He wants something with a little bit of a pedigree. And ideally, he would love a display case back. He would also like to have one of his watches on a bracelet, but he could in theory get the bracelet for the Mont Blanc, leaving his Moonphase to be a strap watch, so you can put your money into the movement and the watch itself,
Sure.
rather than, you know, having $2,000 go toward a bracelet or whatnot. So he says he would like to get a second-hand watch with his upper limit being approximately $10,000 US, and his preference is some sort of Audemars Piguet or JLC. Niko, I've got some suggestions, and then
Sure.
I'd love for you to throw in.
I look forward to it. Let's
Okay,
go.
so he mentions the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Ultra Thin Moon.
Which we love.
We love. We both love that
Which
watch.
we love, right?
For me, the steel with the black dial, that's a heartthrob watch. I get warm fuzzies, and if I didn't already own a complete calendar black dial Moonphase JLC, I'd probably be targeting that. That's an $8,700 watch, so it leaves him with plenty of headroom.
Yeah.
And you can use that remaining headroom to get the bracelet for his Mont Blanc.
Right.
And he's also looking at the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Calendar in steel, which is an update of the watch I have here. The Master Calendar in steel is a 2013 to present complete calendar. Let me fight my way to a little bit better resolution on my macro camera. But it's an update of this 37mm watch that I own called the Master Moon. I love that watch at US $9,550. It does not leave him a whole lot of headroom for tax and for the bracelet on his Mont Blanc, but it's an option.
Sure. Yeah, it totally is. I mean, for me, you've got excellent taste, first of all. You know, the Master Ultra Thin Moon, you know, I think really steals the show in the two pieces that you've asked about,
Okay.
and also leaves the room, like you said, for his other aspirations. So if you really did want to get to that full ceiling and utilize every dollar right,
Go for the bracelet and the watch,
right,
and the second
make
watch.
yourself happy on the first watch and have the second watch be everything you want it to be. That's where I'd go.
And, you know, if you do like the Moonphase, the Master Ultra Thin Moon does make the Moonphase paramount. You get a nice little discrete radial date around it, but it's not going to be lost in a constellation of other complications. Whereas if you go with the Master Calendar, now you've got a complete calendar, day, date, and month, and some people think it's just a little too busy, but it is a watch with real pedigree and a great tradition. Like, next to the Reverso, I'd say JLC's big traditions horologically are calendar watches and alarm watches.
Yeah.
So it's pretty core for JLC.
Totally agreed. If you're not going into Reverso, you're going into the next best thing.
Yeah. So those are two cool options that Ben mentions. We seem to be leaning towards the Ultra Thin Moon just because it leaves him headroom to buy a bracelet for his Mont Blanc. But let me add that you have some additional JLC choices below $10,000, especially if you're willing to go pre-owned. But I want to address the Audemars Piguet end because he also mentioned
Sure.
that. So Audemars Piguet, consider the reference 25548BA. Now this is a yellow gold watch, 36 millimeters, perpetual calendar. So you're getting real sophistication here.
Yeah.
This is a high complication from Audemars Piguet. It's an historically significant watch that they used to throw into their magazine ads and newspaper inserts during the 1980s and the late 70s. And it was really Audemars Piguet doubling down on mechanical watches at a time when, you know, quartz was really expected to kill off traditional Swiss mechanical horology. So if you want a reference as important to Audemars Piguet as those calendar watches are to JLC, 25548BA, great watch. A no wrong answer watch, and you can get them solidly under 10,000. I would say 8 to 9.
Yeah, and a lot of the people that have had them in the past and that give them to us on trade for whatever it is, a lot of the ones I've seen have been really well taken care of. It seems like owners knew when they got these watches that they were special and they were something that, was going to carry on a legacy, and they really do. I love small watches. I'm not wearing one right now, but I like a dress elegant watch, and that has the power of the bracelet and, the wherewithal to really be a great all-around piece.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen them on bracelets, uncommon. You won't be able to get them on a bracelet for under 10,000 just because the amount of precious metal. These are all. This is an all precious metal watch. I've seen them in white gold. I've seen them in platinum. I've seen them in yellow gold. You'll never see them in steel. But what a watch! And with the JLC base caliber, known as the Audemars Piguet caliber 2120. It's that same base caliber that was in the original Royal Oak, that was in the original reference 3700 Nautilus, that was in the original Vacheron 222. Really historic base movement with a historic Audemars Piguet complication on top. Like, it doesn't have a display case back, but rest assured, what's in there is immaculate. So that's my first suggestion. If he wants to go AP and he wants a Moonphase, why not get a Perpetual with it? But he could also go with an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak reference 25594 in steel. Now this is a watch, it's a little bit like the Owl, but it has a Moonphase.
Correct.
So what do you think about this watch at 36 millimeters, like the Owl, but with a Moonphase?
I really like it. I mean, I think that it maybe crowds the dial just a little bit. I mean, because of the fact that it is already at 36 mil, and now with the current mentality of people who think AP on a bracelet, they think bigger, they think it's going to feel a little bit more substantial. I think for what it was in its time, it's flawless. I think that it's really, really nice feel, and it's a beautiful Moonphase on top of it. It's something that I would wear for sure, but I do think it's something that I would have to see in person next to the one without the Moonphase in the same size to kind of make a good decision. Yeah,
that's true. The Owl is the Date 8. This is the Owl with a Moonphase. You can get these under $10,000 on a full steel bracelet, and AP metal finish, even on stainless steel, maybe especially on stainless steel, is worth the price of admission by itself. Getting a JLC-based complication in an Audemars Piguet case and dial, Royal Oak, no less, to me that's very compelling for under $10,000. And of course, I know Ben asked about serviceability down the road. Anything you get that's Audemars Piguet or Jaeger-LeCoultre will be serviceable forever. They're all based on rock-solid platforms that all high-end watchmakers are pretty much familiar with, and the factories behind them will never disappear. So you can buy those pre-owned in good conscience and never worry about parts or service. Now, I will say this, there are a couple of other JLC options that Ben has with respect to Moonphase, and one of them is the Perpetual calendar version of my watch, which you can look up as the reference 148 or 140.8.80.S. That's the case code, not the catalog number, that's the case code. That's a 37 millimeter steel black dial Perpetual calendar, and this one does have a display back. You won't get a display case back on those APs. You will, though, on this Perpetual calendar JLC. Niko, what do you think of that particular choice? Basically my watch, but a Perpetual calendar variant.
I like it a lot. I really like the Perpetual calendar look on that watch. Another graphic we're putting up has the brown strap. I would probably change it out to put it on a black like yours, because I think the overall look of that is a lot better. It kind of grabs the dress watch aspect of that watch a lot better. The display case back is something that to me is invaluable because of the fact that you're getting it on a Jaeger, which to me is one of my favorite movements to see through the back of a watch. So, if it's somewhere in the same price versus the APs that are going to be aged a little bit more, and I got to choose one or the other, I'm probably going Jaeger. But again, like Tim has said repeatedly, and like I have, a little bit partial to the brand, but I think one-on-one, it really does win.
This might be my favorite watch of the group. I got to be honest. I'm a fanboy of JLC. Maybe at this point I'm the fanboy. I don't know. I think the guy who moderates the pro site JLC forum still has the record. He's got like 120,000 posts. But I would hope that I'm next in line. So then there's the other option, which of course is to save money. And now that JLC, you could probably get it for $8,000-9,000 in steel. That's the Perpetual. I bought mine for $5,500. This is the Master Moon in 37. Complete calendar watch with a Moonphase, not an annual, not a Perpetual, just a very handsome, very traditional JLC Moonphase complete calendar watch. And yes, I know Ben likes the case back display, and this watch has it. It's an 889 base. So a modular complete calendar based on a JLC 889, I think it's called the 891 in this case. that's a great option, and again, it leaves more money, several $1,000s, to accessorize the rest of your collection. And like you said, Niko, get the black strap if you buy one that's not on that perfect black strap with a black dial.
Yeah, totally agreed. You got to make sure it's a good all-around.